Alright, for the next section, dealing with quadrilaterals, you'll have 2 questions over parallelograms. You need to memorize what I have highlighted here, that opposite sides are congruent for a parallelogram, and consecutive sides, meaning on the same side, are supplementary, which means equals 180. They gave you examples of that. You're going to have a problem dealing with each. What I went up here and I said, for opposite sides, that goes with number 1. For consecutive angles, that goes with problem number 2. These are your test-like. We needed to change this. Hopefully you have it changed on your review, but we should, because it's going to be expressions, algebraic expressions, not numbers. So this was 2x plus 4. This was supposed to be 3x minus 10. Since opposite sides are congruent, then I know that AB is congruent to DC. So I'm going to write 2x plus 4 is equal to 3x minus 10. Solve for x, get the x's on one side, start with the smallest. So I get 4 is equal to x minus 10, add the 10, add 10. So basically x equals 14. But to find AB, AB is going to be, I'm plugging it back in, 2 times 14 plus 4. I know I kind of ran out of room there, but AB we should have as 32. And that's what you're going to have to do on the test, plug it back in. Now here, on number 2, since consecutive angles are congruent, I look at basically angle D, and angle A are consecutive. Angle D and angle A are consecutive. So angle D plus angle A equals 180. So if I already know that angle D, angle D is basically going to be 180 minus the 110. So we get 70. Okay. So I went ahead and took care of the test like. You are going to practice and make sure you understand parallelograms with 3 through 8. So I'm just going to kind of get you started. For example, they want to know ML. Here's ML. This is want to look for opposite sides congruent. So I see it's opposite in P, so we know that side. Okay. And then if I'm talking about angles, for number 5, they're talking about angle LPM, so L to P, to M. LPM is going to be the same thing as 62 because they're alternate interior angles. That should be a T. I apologize. Let me fix that. Alternate interior angles. Congruent. Now you won't have to see that on the test. It's just a fact that we want you to use to problem solve, but you won't have a test question like that. But I just wanted to make sure you know that we have alternate interior this way as well. So to help you with the rest of those problems. The other type of problem dealing with quadrilaterals or parallelograms, you're going to have 2 dealing with the rhombus. Please memorize this fact. All sides are congruent, and that if a parallelogram is a rhombus and the diagonals are perpendicular. Basically, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this is what we kind of consider a vocab question. Meaning, if it's a vocab question, I'm going to pretty much ask you to fill in the missing parts. Or I'll tell you the property, like if a parallelogram has diagonals that are perpendicular, then it is, and then your answer choice might be, rectangle, trapezoid, rhombus, things like that. So just make sure you know that. And the type of test-like question from here is number 5, the rhombus. Now, on the other one, it's dealing with rectangle. I do still want you to understand your parts of a rectangle because it's similar to a rhombus. And the rectangle, the diagonals bisect each other. So that's just your hint to help you get through that. But for the rhombus, all sides are congruent. So if I know all sides are congruent, then I can say to find KL, 3x plus 4 is equal to x plus 20. And we want to solve for x. I want you to see if you can solve for x. Let you work it. Start with the smallest variable, solve for x. Hopefully you got x is equal to 8. If you need assistance with that, you need to come to the tutorials. And then since they want us to find KL, well, all sides are congruent, and I'm just going to plug it in. I'm just going to say, I know MN, x plus 20, so really it's just going to be 8 plus 20, so our answer is 28. And to find the missing angle here, another property with a rhombus is that the diagonals are perpendicular. So here I should know that 9y is equal to 90. And then solve for y and then plug it in to find the missing angle. Do want you to work on the other problems to help you properly prepare. Alright, and the other thing dealing with quadrilaterals is kites and trapezoids, really kites. What I highlighted you need to know, this is another vocab question, so make sure you know that definition. You'll have one test problem from this section. From here, just kind of recap. If it's a kite, then consecutive sides, you should have exactly 2 pairs of consecutive sides that are congruent. And then it says the measure of BCD, from B to C to D, this whole angle here is 98. And this is from A to D to B. So I said B, but A, D to E, this is 47. So it wants to find the missing angle. Well, in a kite, you have also only one pair. If I go back up here, exactly one pair opposite angles is congruent. So because I know this is 98, over here is 98 as well. And also in a kite, the diagonals are perpendicular. So I'm going to go ahead and put the box. So they want us to find each measure. So the first one they want us to find is DA. What was it? DAE? Yeah, so DAE is just in the interior of that triangle or of that angle. So understand, if it's a kite, the sum of the interior is 360. Also, we have right angles in here. So if this is 47, these two are, A and D are complementary. So this would have to be 43 right there, okay? And if that's 43, and I know that whole thing is 98, then I can get over here and find the missing angle by subtracting. This would be, what was that, 55? Well, the same thing is going to happen on this side, because what we have is an isosceles triangle. So if this is 43, then over here would be 43. And then I know that this would have to be also 47, because property, or another property of a kite is that the diagonals bisects only one pair of angles. And then now I'm going to use, and I'm just going to highlight real quick. I'm going to use this right triangle, okay, which we know is the same as this right triangle because those two are isosceles. So if this is 90 and this is 55 right there, then I can find this missing angle because those two are going to be complementary. They're going to equal to 90. So this would have to be 35 right here, which would also be 35 here, which would get me back to my 55. So that will help you find the missing angles. So that will answer the angle part on 1 through 3. On 4, because we're dealing with the trapezoid, this trapezoid, what you need to remember is that the consecutive sides, so these two equal 180, and L and M equal 180, and angle J is congruent to angle M. So I can find angle M just by doing 180 minus 124. So you do need to write that answer down. Then you can practice on number 5. And then we have another property for dealing with trapezoid is dealing with the mid-segment. You need to memorize that base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 equals the mid-segment. Your mid-segment is basically the line here in the middle. And I can also do 2 times the mid-segment equals the base 1 plus base 2. Because you might have to work backwards. So if I know that this is an isosceles trapezoid on number 6, then I know that angle Q is going to be congruent to angle T. So that's your clue to help you with that, meaning I could go ahead and substitute the parts. I can't really read this. This looks like, is that 5x squared? Plus 32 equals 7x squared. Oh, they're going to end up simplifying. So subtract the 5x squared. We get 32 equals 2x squared, but then divide by 2. We get 16 equals x squared, and then take the square root. Okay. So try number 7. It's dealing with AC and BD. They're congruent. Okay. So that is equal to the other diagonal. But the test like is dealing with mid-segment. So on number 8, you need to make sure that you could find the mid-segment KL. KL is the mid-segment. And the rule says that a mid-segment is equal to base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. So here's our base 1. Here's our base 2. So all I'm doing basically is doing, I think this is 16 plus 26. I think it's 26 divided by 2, and we get KL equals 21. Add first and then divide. So that takes care of all the quadrilateral type of questions. The next section we're going to look at right triangles, and we'll finish that up.